What's going on, guys? Dare here with Fantasy Football Advice, coming at you with another fantasy football video. Today, we are going over the top 5 running back steals of the 2019 season, and these are the types of players that can really set your lineup apart. Now, do not get them confused with the value. You can find values at multiple stages of the draft. Now, a steal is a player who already, if you get them at their ADP, you're thrilled. But not only that, you can reach on them and take them out of order of their ADP and know you made the right choice. We have a list of 5 of these players. You have to be aware, though, that ADP does change, and we're recording this video in mid-July. So if you're listening to this video in August and you're preparing for your draft, a steal may not be a steal if we're saying take him in the 10th and he already rose into the mid-8th. So be mindful of that. And we're going to get right into the stat of the day. And yesterday's stat of the day was which wide receiver had the most air yards per target. And the answer was actually Jarius Wright. Freakier bowl. You got yourself another point. Let's see if you can repeat again today. But we're transitioning over to running back since this is a running back video. Which running back with over 10 attempts had the highest yards per carry average within the 20? So they must have had 10 attempts. Which one had the highest yards per carry average inside the 20? Let us know in the comment section down below. We'll be happy to let you know who wins in tomorrow's video. So I'm starting with Damian Williams because yes, he's on the thumbnail, but also we could not exclude him from this video. He is the epitome of a steal in this draft, and you don't typically get steals in the early rounds. Remember, these players were normally splitting them by fine hairs, yet even though everybody knows Damian Williams was a beast last season, they're still afraid to take him. You have to ask yourself, why is that? And it's pretty obvious that his lack of production throughout his career and efficiency is hurting him. We get it. Yes, when you look at his numbers while he was a Dolphin, he did have 2 seasons where he was under 3.5 yards per carry. As a Dolphin, he only scored on the ground once, and not one single of those seasons did he average over 4. So yes, when you just look at that, there's nothing good to say about it. But you also have to understand his role in that offense. Because his role in Kansas City was as a receiver and a rusher, he is graded too harshly on his rushing ability while he was in Miami. He was the designated receiving back. In fact, he had actually had more receiving yards than rushing yards in 3 of 4 seasons. And the season that he was beat by his rushing was by 26 yards. And that 1 touchdown he scored on the ground, he multiplied that by 6 through the air. So we've established that he is a solid pass catcher, to say the least, on a team with an MVP caliber quarterback that's going to score a ton of points. It's not like the guys that are even going ahead of him have no risk at all. You have Joe Mixon, who, yes, he played well on a bad offense last season. But even James Conner and Le'Veon Bell, who have so many more question marks, people still refuse to draft Damian Williams over either of those players. And James Conner's already been told that he is going to be in somewhat of a committee. Well, do we know that's true? Not 100%, but what we do know is that Damian Williams will lead this backfield for sure. And the only guy behind him has not been healthy for 2 years, and when on the field has looked terrible. He cannot catch either. And even if there was some sort of regression in the rushing game for Damian Williams, on a bad day, he's still a better rusher than Carlos Hyde. But I don't want to talk too much on Damian Williams. We still have 4 other players to go over. The next player is being taken in the 5th round as the 2nd pick. And I will say the best place to start when looking for undervalued players or steals is going to be in the underperformers the year before, the players that were overdrafted. And Kenyon Drake was overdrafted last year, and he's feeling the burn now. You wouldn't think so if you looked at his end of season numbers. His numbers were good, but predicting his production was next to impossible, and anytime it seemed like he should have a good game, he would have a terrible game. And the coaching staff just would not use him in situations that they should. Definitely caused a lot of fantasy owners to have losses solely on him. And now he's been completely tanked in drafts, and he's a complete steal. If you look at what he was actually able to do on such a limited workload, it was quite impressive, actually. He is a really talented running back. The only problem was this team was 26 in points per game. On top of that, the coach refused to use him in ways that he should. You want to get Kenyon Drake the ball, you want to get him in space. He's probably the most consistent and talented player on the team. Devontae Parker may appear that way, but Devontae Parker could never put it together. Kenyon Drake actually looked and played the part. So a top 20 finish no matter what scoring format you were in, while only receiving 120 carries on an offense that was poor, and Drake was still able to get 1,000 yards. That's pretty impressive. And on a team that scores that few points, being able to put together 9 touchdowns is also impressive as well. And yet nobody wants to own him. Makes no sense. You even have Frank Gore, who's now out of town. that leaves another 168 touches on the table, and I am in no way afraid of Kalen Ballage. I wouldn't even take him as a late round flyer. I mean, I guess if I had to in a really deep league, but he played really bad last season. He couldn't avoid any tackles. He made no moves on the ground. So it's really Kenyon Drake's backfield, and the offense can't get any worse. I know you don't want to own a running back on a poor offense, but if he was able to do that much with that little, imagine what he's going to be able to do with a workload on an offense that should be improved. It's a better situation than it was. He's being taken later. It's a no-brainer. Don't overthink it. Since we're talking about steals, we forgot to mention the biggest steal of the season, and that is our draft package. That's right. Sleepers, targets, busts, projections, rankings, breakdowns. It's all available to you for one low price. And what makes it a steal is that it is the least expensive package in the entire industry. If you want access to that, all you have to do, use the link in the description box below. Go to our website, sign up, and become a member today. The next player we really haven't had a chance to speak too much on, and that's Justice Hill of the Baltimore Ravens. And he just makes such a great late round pick. And he just not even climbing either. He's on an offense that has an extremely good defense. It's a run first offense and one of the most run heavy offenses in the league. And they cannot afford to get their quarterback injured. And the only way to do that is by getting the ball out of his hands and into the rusher's hands and out to the receivers. We already know he's not a strong passer. He's not going to be attempting very many deep passes or advanced passes, or at least not with any frequency. He's going to be doing as many checkdowns as possible. It's going to keep his accuracy up. It's also going to give the playmakers the ability to catch and make the plays. He's actually on the smaller side, especially for a running quarterback, but he is so fast. And we already know what rushing quarterbacks, they always get a bump. Gus Edwards averaged 5.2 yards per carry in the same offensive scheme. Lamar Jackson's playstyle, it had a lot to do with it. Now, he's not going to start as the starter. We know that Mark Ingram, he was signed in free agency. But with this offense being so run heavy, there's going to be enough work to go around. And he's going so late. Mark Ingram hasn't exactly been the poster boy for health throughout his career either. So he is at an elevated injury risk compared to other running backs. And the only offense we've seen Mark Ingram play in is the Saints offense. And every player looks great in the Saints offense. But it's not even that he needs an injury in order to pay off his draft price and have upside. So the pick, it's a slam dunk. He hasn't been increasing in cost, which has made him a steal this entire offseason. Up next, we have Duke Johnson of the Cleveland Browns, and he's RB46, being taken in the 14th round. He's the forgotten man in Cleveland. You have Nick Chubb, who broke out last season completely, and then you have Kareem Hunt, who has already broken out and been a superstar in the league and is now trying to pick up the broken pieces. So what does that mean? Johnson is expendable. And because of that, they're going to have an incentive to trade him. He has a cheap contract. A lot of teams need a rusher with his ability. He's one of the best pass catchers in the entire league. And even if he does not get traded, there is a possibility and a way he's still productive. Remember, this is going to be, or projected to be, an elite offense. It has so many playmakers on it. So many that even Duke Johnson got forgotten. And think about it. What is the main reason that we do not like drafting these pass catching only, not 3-down back style players? It's because even if there's an injury, there's no upside. Well, there's your upside. So now you have the guy that is productive and has the upside, which you really can't get every year. So if he doesn't get traded, it's still a good pick. If he does get traded, it's an even better pick. So we have him as the RB43, well above consensus, and we just don't see any downside with taking him there. And honestly, he's probably going to go undrafted in nearly every single league. In your home league, for sure, he's going to be on the waiver wire. The last player we have is Chase Edmunds, and this falls right in line with everything we've been saying this entire offseason. This Arizona Cardinals offense is here to make a statement, and we're going to see a fire show right away. We're going to see a lot of plays, we're going to see a lot of points, we're going to see a lot of yards, and we're going to see a lot of rushes. Enough rushes for David Johnson to have production and enough for Chase Edmunds to have production. But as for David Johnson, he should be in for a massive workload, which means he's going to have a lot of injury concern around him. It's a dangerous sport. Players get hurt. It's just a matter of time. You really can't help it. So if you're telling me there is one running back who is likely going to have the most amount of touches in the league on an offense that's running a lot of plays with a lot of scoring opportunities, that seems like a backup I would be very interested in. While Chase Edmunds hasn't been the best from a production standpoint or from an efficiency standpoint, his opportunity share is a lot higher than anyone else in this range, which makes the percentage chance that he hits a lot higher than the others. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. We really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. We did want to really quickly thank Sleeper, the sponsor of today's video. If you guys have not yet checked out Sleeper, they are the #1 platform for hosting your leagues, and also they're doing updates all the time. It's basically like an analogy I could put it. If you're using ESPN, Yahoo, anything like that, you're basically playing in standard when everybody else is in PPR, because they're constantly making updates that the other platforms just don't even think of. Right now they're coming out with a night mode like we have on all of our social medias that just make it that much more enjoyable. So that's just an idea of some of the things that they're doing, and they're constantly improving and taking your feedback to do it. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Check out some of our other videos while you're here. Thanks.